Finally, I get to speak to the sensible end of South Somerset here. You enjoying yourself, Drew?
Hello. We always talk about tea and cake and never show it.
We always do. It's been a while since you and I had some tea and cake, isn't it?
Entirely too long, John.
Yeah, it's been entirely too long. I'm trying to think when the last time it was. I think it was probably in Glastonbury, wasn't it?
Yeah, it'll be. It was late last year.
Yep.
Was it earlier this year?
No good asking me, mate.
No. Anyway, bit of Lidl's Belgian chocolate cake.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. How are you doing this evening? Well, obviously doing very well by the looks of things.
Better now.
Better now.
No, but very well, actually. Very well.
Excellent.
So,
excellent.
This is a new computer this week for this, so we will be seeing how it performs tonight. See if we get none of the problems that we've had before. But no, it's been a pretty good week. Finished the F-35. I started a. Let's move the cake out of the way. I'll peck at that as we go. And so another special hobby. Mirage 3 there. As you'll remember, I made a mess of the last one. The decal stage that's got that had those terrible Edouard decals on it, and they went horribly wrong. So this one is actually being built as a Shahak with the Attar 9C engine. All the bits for that are in the kit, and it's going to be finished using decals robbed from one of my models fit Shahaks for an Argentinian aircraft. Is a plan for that, but yeah, this is an absolutely glorious little model, really. It's kind of closed the book on Mirage 3's Mirage 3 season 72nd for now. I think it's not as detailed as the model spit kit, but this is about 2 days work. So it literally just flies together. So yeah, that's what I'm working on now, because I couldn't really settle on anything to start any sort of major project, and that's like a little, that's a little palette cleanser almost. So yeah, I just thought I'd knock one of those together. One thing to watch out for if people are building this kit, there appears to be an area for the wheel bay to locate, and it looks really obvious. And if you glue it there, it's in the wrong place. It needs to be about 3 or 4 millimeters further back, which if you check, you'll see. But if you don't put it in the right place, you cannot get the kit together because it interferes with the cockpit. Ask me how I know, John.
How do you know, Drew?
Well, John, what happened was...
All right, very good.
I then had to... I actually threw it in the box and threw it behind me in frustration when I realised what I'd done. And then a day later, I took it out, and with a fresh blade, I carefully cut the wheel bay away and relocated it. So it wasn't the end of the world, but just be aware if you are building this kit.
See, it can happen to the best of us, can't it?
Yeah, it's one of those. And the last time I built it, I didn't have that problem. I put it in the right place. But yeah, there's kind of like a ridge where you'd locate something against it, if you know what I mean. And it's perfectly placed for you to locate the rear of the wheel bay. The nose wheel bay against it, and it all fits and it all glues in beautifully. But if you look, there's actually a couple of little slots in the wheel bay that go over that ridge, so it locates about 3 or 4 millimeters further back and sits over that. And so yeah, it was that there was some language involved.
I'd say some fruity Anglo-Saxon
Yes.
verbiage.
I mean, as Mike Williams says, well, nobody looks underneath anyway. Yeah, but I still had to remove him, Mike, because otherwise I couldn't get the cockpit in. So yeah, it's so just be aware of that. And apart from that, otherwise the kit just flies together. It's just, it's my second one, albeit the first one ended up in the bin for decal related reasons.
Edward's awesome decals, weren't they?
Oh God, I have to say they are getting. I got another Edward kit last week, and looking at the decals in it, they are getting there. They are, they look the ones I've got looks entirely sort of usable. So we got a lot of people in tonight, haven't we? Good evening, Yoav. I have to say, yes.
Yeah. Good evening, Yoav. Stay safe.
Stay safe, mate.
Well, I have been doing some modelling. There's a surprise, and I've managed to get some paint onto my Italeri Humvee, which I'm building for the hobby company display. And yeah, I used, as you can see in the photograph there, it's a bottle of AK US Desert Sand. It's actually from their their OIF and OEF weathering set. So it's like a little combined set of paints and washes and things. Then, of course, I had to do some pre-shading over the desert sand color, and I used one of my awesome texture templates just to break up the surface. Now, that mix that you can see there is a very dirty kind of black brown color that it's just a random mix. The funny thing is, I think you and I came up with the same ratio, which was 50% Tamiya flat black, and 50% Tamiya brick red, wasn't it?
Red brown, yeah.
Red brown, yeah.
It's also good for exhausts. Exhaust things.
And ironically, it's also not that far off from one of the many iterations of Ammo of Mig's Starship Filth, which is a beautifully neutral color for doing weathering. Anyway, as you can see there, horror of horrors, it's been pre-shaded into oblivion, but then we get the AK Desert Sand out and we blend it all back into the point where you can barely see the shading. You can see it in certain angles, but this is the point. It is to create that kind of disharmony of finish, but without it looking like that as the finished model. Let's put it that way. So yeah, we're getting there. I'm probably being overly finicky. Have you met me? But
yeah, I can't imagine. Surely some mistake, boss.
Surely some mistake, exactly. But I gotta say that AK paint sprays rather nicely. You do have to do it at a slightly higher pressure. I think we found this once, didn't we, Drew, with some of these water-based acrylics. And as such, I found that you can't really kind of put it down slow and wet like you can with a lacquer-based paint, like a Tamiya acrylic. Oh, hello, compressor. A Tamiya acrylic or something like, one of the hot acrylics, or indeed Mr. Color. But we're getting there, and yeah. In fact, if I think
ultimately, John, we come back to the same conclusion every time we try what we call true acrylics, the kind of water-based acrylics, is that we can make them work. Yeah. We just don't find them enjoyable to use.
No, I mean this, as you can probably just make out some of the shading on this one now. But the idea is that you knock it back to the point where it is barely perceptible. It really is, and some people probably think, well, why go to all that trouble? Why indeed? But it's a technique and it's an effect that I kind of like the look of. But anyway, we will get on with decaling for that. Talking of which, incroyable this for this desert scheme. Goodness me, look at all those stencils. It's like an Italian Jonathan Mock has designed that sheet. You know,
You might be needing a gloss coat there.
we will be getting the Tamiya XF X22. There we go. This bad boy. Yeah, we will be putting a gloss coat on this. But yeah, that's a lot of stickers to go on what is, in theory, what is supposed to be a relatively bland scheme. And I think of a lot of these are to do with the weapon system and whatnot. Talking of which, somebody suggested that I paint the toe green. I did. Apparently, it should be olive drab, not green. But I'm going to run with what I've got here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? And as you can see, we've done the eyepiece in. There's the eyepiece there. The eyepiece has been done in a nice rubber black. I'll do some detail painting on this just to lift some of the greens. I might, you know, do some arty-farty kind of forced shading with a paintbrush. But the idea is that, you know, it's just a splash of colour on a quite monotonous, monochromatic finish. And the other thing to talk about are the tyres. Let's get the tyres in there. Now, I did actually paint the tyres in a nice kind of dark brown, dark kind of black brown colour. And of course, being vinyl, all the paint came straight off of them. So I thought, let's cut our losses. So I sprayed them overall with the same desert tan color as the vehicle, then went at them with a piece of Scotch-Brite, indeed this piece of Scotch-Brite here. And as you can see, it removes the excess paint from all the raised surfaces, but leaves it in all the nooks and crannies. Now, I don't like the idea of unpainted rubber tires, because it kind of offends my sense of OCD. But on the other hand, what am I painting here? These are supposed to be tires.
Painted, would you? You wouldn't know that's not.
But these are supposed to be tires. They're supposed to be rubber. What's more realistic than actual rubber? So, anyway, there we go.
It's one of those weird things where I still think of the Humvee as being a new vehicle. So one of those things about age, you still think of it as a new vehicle, not one that's currently leaving service and being replaced.
When did it enter service? About 40 years ago?
Exactly.
Paul's face.
Yeah. Every time I look at a Humvee, I think, the new Humvee, and then you realise that it's it's many things, but none of them is new. And,
do you know what, Drew? It's almost as if we're getting older.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
I know. I'm of that opinion these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because and I have a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, you do? Yes, that's the point. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's the day after my friend Julie's birthday, isn't it? Yeah.
Don't know. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
If Julie's birthday's the 27th, then yes, it is.
No, it's yours the 28th, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same day as Julie's birthday then. It's oh well, I've got some lovely cards to send out here, so you might get one. All depends on your behaviour tonight.
Righto. Well, I've already had cake and I'm drinking tea, so
excellent. Right, shall we? We did have a schedule last week. It went a little bit out the window because we had a live guest, but that was brilliant. I really enjoyed having Spence back on the show again, and so we're going to play catch up on the schedule tonight. And one of the things that I've got here, and it's something I've got to build for Telford, and it's the new model Audi Sport Quattro S1. Now, this is not an entirely brand new kit. It's based on the B-Max Aoshima Audi from 2018. Talking to some car modelers, apparently what's new on this release is the body, the wheels, and the decals. So I obviously I know next to nothing about cars, but I'm taking their advice on face value, and it does appear to build up into a rather nice little car. Now, I will be building one, but I will of course be weathering it because it's a rally car. And so, yeah, I'm going to be putting a bit of the old dust and hide it with dirt, I think is the moniker.
I think 80s car design was terribly soulless, but it did make nice looking rally cars.
It did. Yeah, and apparently that's the new body part for the new release and the new wheels. And it's not a massively complex kit. It's nicely put together, and there don't appear to be any vices. Obviously, I haven't started yet, but I read the Fine Scale Modeler review, and they seem to be quite ebullient with their praise of it. You get a set of chrome parts, as is de rigueur with car models, it seems, and obviously the clear parts as well. And then another coloured sprue with all the other details in there, like the bumpers and the transmission and the seats. And well, I'll just skip through the photographs here. I think you can all work out what these things are. But yeah, this is JM makes a car. I think I've probably made in my lifetime probably about a dozen. But I am looking forward to it. Like I say, there is going to be an element to this of doing some nice weathering bits and pieces. There are vinyl type.
Decent weathering on decent dust and dirt weathering on top of a glossy finish. That will look cool.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's not setting myself too many kind of like hurdles here. Got to get a decent glossy finish, then a weathered finish. But hey ho, it's nothing if not a challenge, Drew. These are the wheels. Yet again, you'll notice that they're vinyl, and they do seem to have quite a lot of flash inside them. So I'm going to have to break open a brand new number 11A blade to deal with that. But other than that, and what have I not got here? I haven't got a picture of the decal sheet, which is annoying because it's a rather nice decal sheet. But that's nothing like live, is it? Bear with me a second.
Oh, there he goes. Look, he's gone to get the box. He's not messing about.
I'm not messing about because I'm determined not to let this decal sheet escape our
attention,
our observations this evening. Yeah, the kit is molded pretty much in all the colors that you need to not paint it, if you see what I mean. But here we go. So that's ping. So you've got, that's the sheet that's got all the sponsors' logos. Also got the it's also got the seat belts and everything on there, which is a rather nice touch. And there's the instrument dial decals and some decals there for the windows, for the rubber seals. And yeah, it's beautifully done. I can't see who it's done by. It looks very cartography. I don't think it is, but it's very nice. And then we've got this sheet, which is all the major color panels for the body, which again simplifies the painting to a great extent. And these look to be beautifully designed. Really kind of
high praise.
Right. Sorry?
High praise.
Well, yeah, it's shaped decals are always a real nuisance to have to kind of design. So anybody who can do it with a modicum of skill and elan, I think does deserve high praise. Then we've got a nice little metallic one here, which has got the Audi logo and the wing mirrors. At least I assume those are the wing mirrors. I think they are. But anyway, that is the new 24 scale Audi Sport Quattro S1.
Bold assumption that a rally driver ever uses mirrors.
No, I don't think those are. I don't think those are the wing mirrors. I think I've just made.
I think rally drivers tend to be more focused on what's ahead than what's behind.
No, no. I hush my mouth. They are the wing mirrors. Look, there they are. Oops, Daisy. There they are.
Yeah.
Big round wing mirrors. So they do use them, Drew. Anyway, there we go. But it's that whole thing of taking yourself out of your comfort zone and building something that you wouldn't ordinarily do. And I do enjoy a challenge. So so like I say, it is partially a new kit, but there are new bits in it that have been tooled by Nunu. Nunu and Platts, but he says, getting it back in the box.
So they tooled by Platts for Nunu?
I think they probably are, yep. Fantastic. I am really, really can't wait to get this Humvee done, and then I can crack on with this Audi Quattro. So, yeah, brilliant. Shall we talk about something that is probably a bit more familiar to you and me, albeit not the scale? Now, this
corner, aren't we?
I'm going to let you run with this one. Now, this is Border Model have put up some images this week of their 35th scale Mitsubishi Zero. Now, Border have decided to run with the idea that the modelling world wants 35th scale aircraft. 35th scale aircraft are not a new concept, and I do believe, was it TriStar or somebody did a Fieseler Storch in that scale?
Yes, they did, didn't they? Yes.
Yeah.
And then we've had sort of Border models have been doing quite a few recent years, haven't they?
And
And
obviously
it's become a very popular scale for helicopters.
Yeah, and like I was just going to say, obviously Bronco have done that massive 35th scale Horsa glider.
Yes,
but Border are carving a bit of a niche for themselves at the moment, doing these 35th scale fighter aircraft. I really don't know what to make of this, Drew.
That looks great in that picture, but the closer I look at it, the less I like it. It's just to me, it just looks. Everything looks over accentuated. Everything's turned up to 11. And I just absolutely don't like it. Sorry. I know. I mean, we look at some. I mean, the panel laps, the panel lapping, it just looks wrong.
That's a CAD image. That's not the actual model. Whereas that is
the actual model, and it looks that looks. Sorry, I mean the rivets aren't even reaching the panel on the main panel there. The leading edge and the tip panels are raised to a clumsy degree, as far as I can tell. I don't know, John. It just doesn't feel right to me. It's not about the scale or anything like that. It's about the way that the detail's been represented. I don't like it. That's is a personal opinion, obviously.
I would make the observation that if you are I'm going to try and qualify this, but if you want to kind of take hints on how to do a big zero, there is one out there to look at.
Yeah, yeah, and it seems like there's no real consistency in what Border Model have been doing. Every time I look at, as somebody just said there, their Stuka. Every time I look at that Stuka and look in the box, I want it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really, really great, and the upcoming Kate, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've seen of that makes it look really great. But this just, as you get closer to it, it's just, yeah, no, I don't, no, sorry. It's almost a visceral feeling of, yeah, no.
Engine looks nice.
Yeah, and like Russell says there, look, remember this is massively magnified. It is, but that, you know, that's how we tend to view models these days when we're looking online and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, you know, the rivet's not actually going up to panel lines. It is quite clumsy.
Mm.
You know, it just doesn't. You know, when you see the stuff that, you know, when you see this the things that the likes of Armour are doing in 72nd and Edouard are doing in 48th, and Armour are now doing in 48th, you go, you know what? People have got a bit of catching up to do here, and they don't seem to be doing it.
Mm.
You know, and like I say, the thing is, it's not like Border Model with that don't seem to be on a trajectory of getting better and better and better. It's very much a kind of wavy line of, you know, I mean, people pulled the 109 apart when that was released. The 190 seems to have got fairly good reviews. The Spitfire has been absolutely crucified, and rightly so. So there's just it's very much very trumpeter in that the execution often looks good, the accuracy is off, or if zero's accurate, then to me the execution's off. They seem to be, it's a one in every few models where they bring those both together and get the result that I would look at and go, yeah, I want that, like the Stuka. So odd. Jury's very much out, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think it's a case of we will wait to see what the finished model is like. And obviously those are test shots, so it could be that there are elements on that.
I think there's some mold polishing and stuff that needs to go on yet.
Yeah. And like I say, stuff about the rivets not quite reaching the panels, that could be something that the test shots will resolve for the production version. But
well,
yeah.
you'd like one would like to hope so.
Yeah.
But it's not a great way of advertising an upcoming model, I don't think. Yeah, in the same way, that's, is it Magic or whatever, that their Corsair has just been released now, is on the market. The 48 scale Corsair, and everything I've seen of that makes you want to build the Tamiya one again. You know, it's just it just doesn't feel, the surface detail and stuff just doesn't feel right to me. Just doesn't look right. You know, makes you want to build the Tamiya one, or wait for Edouard to get round to it, because they will. So
let's move on. That's I mean, this is the thing, folks, is as much as we try to be positive about this hobby, and you know, we try to be honest with our opinions, is sometimes something comes along and you just kind of, you take you have to take a step back and look and go, okay, good luck with it, but it might not be the kit for me or you, or you know what I mean.
And let's be, you know, I'll be completely honest. If that kit actually shows up on the market and all those issues that I find with it have been corrected, I'll be happy to come on here and say, actually, it's utterly glorious. It's all been, you know, I've got no, but I can only base my sort of feelings on what I'm seeing at the moment, and what I'm seeing at the moment doesn't impress me. But
well, let's see what your feelings are over this. And again, this is a scale that seems to be taking off. It's 1/16 scale, but this is border model, not border model, Das Werk model, and they have announced they are doing a 1/16 scale Puma armored car. Oh,
That's beautiful, isn't it?
yep.
And just full disclosure again, as a subject, I have no interest in it whatsoever. So being able to say I've got no interest in it and that looks beautiful, do you know what I'm saying? That's kind of high praise sort of thing for a subject and a scale that doesn't interest me. That looks utterly amazing.
I think you and I are probably very similar in as much as our first exposure to this vehicle came with the iconic
Matchbox
1/76 scale Matchbox kit from the 1970s, which I think I built that one again about 10 years ago. But it's just a fabulously, it still looks slightly futuristic today, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like something. I mean, the Germans used very similar things through the 60s, 70s, and 80s, didn't they? Not terribly dissimilar. All right, with more modern sort of turrets and stuff, but not terribly dissimilar. And it's got that kind of very modern look. Is this the one that could go as fast backwards as it could forwards? There was actually a rear driving position, or was that the one? There's one that looks very similar. I think it's post-war. A German one, but it had a driving position at the rear as well. It could drive as fast backwards as it could forwards. But yeah, it just looks utterly beautiful, doesn't it?
The thing is, these 1/16 scale models, excuse me, it's not a case that they don't interest me. I'm sure if one landed here, I'd build one, but it's not a scale that particularly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, like if that
me.
Puma landed on my desk and somebody said knock that together, I'd spend a very, very happy week's worth of evenings, no doubt, sticking that together and thoroughly enjoying it. But it's not something that I will spend my own money on. If you know what I mean. It's not, it doesn't interest me enough to want to buy one. But I'm presuming I get the impression perhaps Tacoma doing the tooling for that. But I don't know. But yeah, it just looks fantastic, doesn't it? And it's even that aircraft, that vehicle, even in 1/16 scale, is probably not going to be massive.
No, it's going to be about that big. It's
yeah.
going to be, yeah. Having said that, though, you're talking to somebody who will at some stage build his Italeri / X Eschi 1/9 scale Kugelwagen and Kettenkrad because because they're kits I've always wanted to build, and I will get round to building them at some stage. So
what I'd say for that Puma is it's a kit I would rather hope that Mr. Pollard gets his hands on.
Yes, that would be, yes.
That would be something to behold,
Yeah.
Hopefully, one would hope it would pique his interest enough that he wants to spend a week or two on one of them at some point.
Yes, please. That would be marvellous. We weren't able to do this last week, so apologies to everybody. Let's do a shout out to everybody who's tuned in tonight, or as many as possible. Takes a deep breath. So hello to Paul Cave, 9 Bolts, Russell Taylor, Wayne Beatty, Peter Oxley, Hobby Time, Jerry Doyle, Dougal McWoogle, Kev Tinker, Locks 9, Vincent Murphy, Les Suter, Sean Smith, Phil Prisk, My Planes Don't Fly, Rob Monfee, Dave Coward, Ian Goldstraw, Rory's modelling page, hello Rory, Stephen Pryor, Griff's modelling page, Dan Hackett, Shane Weir, good day Shane, Alan Richardson, Greg Woodbridge, Nick Brown, Dave Fleming, Douglas Hunter, Paul Milligan, Phil, Jeff Baker, Powell Krupovich, hello Powell, Marcus Stone, Yohava Fretti, Simon James Colley, Mike Williams, Brian Wilton, Adam Cooper, Stan Codling, Mike Reeves, hello Mike, Paul Burridge, Steve Moores, Andy King, Theron Hampton, Gordon J, John Huston. Goodness me, I'm just going to run out of breath there. I'm going to go blue. Gav, everybody who's tuned in tonight, thank you so much for coming along.
Another first timer this evening, Claire Crook.
Hello, Claire. I think Claire's watched before, but yeah, welcome on board, Claire. Good to have you here. Andy King makes an observation. Says the problem for me with 1/16 scale is that all the add-ons, accessories, etch that would cost 3 times as much. So as much as I'd love to build one, it's just not affordable for me. Andy, how about just as a one-off, just build it straight from the box, just not worry about all the add-ons, just as an experience, just to tick it off the list. That's what I'm going to do with the old SG Kubelwagen and Kettenkrad. Is they'll be built pretty much straight from the box, and I'm not doing any add-ons to it. The only add-ons I'll do is the paint finish, and that's it. So
yeah.
And Gordon J says, "Oh, do like a comic." And Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch. Very good. I do like the fact our viewers are so culturally literate. Now, let's get on with the next item tonight, and it cannot be said that we're not looking at things that are really, really unusual. And this is very unusual. It is the Crusader K6. It was a jet-powered boat, a kind of contemporary of Bluebird, powered by a de Havilland Ghost Mark 48, which was the same engine that powered the Comet, the Venom, the Sea Venom, and, would you believe, the Saab Tunnan. Cobb tried a attempt at the speed record in September 1952, I do believe, 29th of September 1952. Alas, like Donald Campbell, he died in the attempt. And I do believe he tried to do his on Loch Ness.
I believe my exact words when you showed it to me before the show were, "What the flip is that?"
Yes. Yes.
It almost looked to me like something Russian from World War II, something for going over the snowy tundra or something like that. And then when you said it's a rocket powered boat, it seems really weird that it's got no stabilization at all.
Which may explain why it crashed.
Yeah, you'd really think that would have fins or something, vertical fins or some strakes or something to stabilize it. It just looks. Well, yeah, it's not a surprise that it all went pear-shaped, shall we say?
It is, like I say, it's a fabulously esoteric release from Micromere.
The more I look, the more I want it.
Yes, I'm the same here. It's 35th scale, just in case we forgot to mention that. I can but keep my fingers crossed that if this does well for them, they will follow it up with a Bluebird.
Yeah, it's almost odd that they did this before Bluebird.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, but perhaps they just like the look of this one a bit more. But
yeah, I mean, the more I look, the more I like it, and the more I think I might like to build that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So Micromere, you've landed yourself a couple of fans here, because I think that just looks it looks utterly fabulous, and no idea on price, no idea on availability. We'll keep an eye out for that. Fingers crossed, it might be available at Telford, but I'm not saying that with any kind of inside knowledge or assurity. But yeah, I think I have just found my first Micromere model that I'm going to make, and yeah, like I say, fingers crossed. If this does very well for them, perhaps they'll follow it up with a Bluebird.
Yeah, I was just seeing Dave Fleming there, and that's my immediate thought as well. I know they're still quite protective about licensing, aren't they?
Yes. Yep. Now, yeah, I think I know what he's talking about as well. So, yep. But that Micromere, I'm sold, Drew. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that was that sort of. I wouldn't say it's gone to the top of my list of kits I want to get in the immediate future, but I would certainly, when I know it's available, it'll certainly be on my radar.
Now, Jeff Baker says, what colour should it be? Now, here is a website that you can go to read all about it, and it is bluebird-electric.net. And if you go and give them a visit, there is some blurb all about it, including some photographs, and it appears to be kind of natural metal or painted silver with some kind of trim. It's like I say, John Cobb unfortunately lost it. Oh, it's red, apparently. There we go. Silver and red. Unfortunately, John Cobb did lose his life in attempting to break the water speed record. But what a fabulous looking vehicle. And like I say, head over to Bluebird at bluebird-electric.net and you can read all about it. And in fact, what we will do is bear with.
I can't even see how it was steered.
Yep. Hang about.
It goes really, really fast in a straight line. What happens if something gets in your way? It goes really, really fast in a straight line.
There we go, folks. There is the link, bluebird-electric.net, and we're going to put that up on the comments as well. So if you all head over there and give them some hits, that would be absolutely splendid. But yeah, I'm really quite taken with that, Drew. Don't know.
Colour me intrigued.
Colour me intrigued. It's. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, mate? It's interesting. See. Interesting modeling company. That's what we're going for.
Yes.
Now, here's something that is right up your part of South Somerset. And there we go. Res Kit are doing some US Navy inboard pylons for F4 Phantoms. Discuss.
I mean, there's not a lot to say really. It's just a more detailed set for, well, mainly your Navy Phantoms. All British Phantoms use this style of pylon, and also all RF4Cs. RF4Es use the Air Force style. RF4Cs use this style for some reason. I think the reason is nuclear wiring. These pylons were wired for nukes, and the RF4C had a backup nuclear strike roll when they were based in Europe. So I think they carried these pylons because those are the pylons that would carry instant sunshine should it be required. I think the other Phantoms tended to carry them on the centre line. If needed. So yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's the latest in a very long line of Phantom pylons that hit the market. And it's really good for the lower. I like Chris. Well, there you go. Chris has just beaten me to it there. If you want to leave the pylons empty, they just look great because you've got all of the detail on the underside, all of the stuff where stuff would latch into and stuff like that. Also pylons that would carry Sparrow missiles, certainly on the F4B. So yeah, it's just, you know, there are various. Our very own Mike does some inboard Phantom pylons as well. I don't know if he's done Navy ones yet, but they're just those little those little details that a lot of people like just to dress a model up very, very nicely, because it's a sort of thing that tends to get overlooked by manufacturers quite often. In terms of detail, they tend to sort of, you know, traditionally stores were very much an afterthought for many manufacturers, and along with that, pylons tended to be as well. So it's one of those things where that they allow you to dress a model up really nicely, very simply. And like I say, a lot of different resin manufacturers are doing them now. So yeah, certainly be interested. And 3D printed again. Like I saw somebody say this week, it looks like the traditional casting of resin parts is very much fading away now, and everybody's moving over to 3D printing as the quality gets better. So,
it's certainly, I would say 2023 certainly does seem to be the year that 3D printing really has hit the ground running now, hasn't it? I know we've had previous years where we have, it's been around in the hobby probably for the best part of about 10 years. But because in the last couple of years, the resolution and the detailing has just improved exponentially, that I think that 2023 seems to be the year. Like I say, it's hit the ground running.
Yeah, I mean, I think our very own Mr. Reeves was probably the first person I know of to actually go, I've moved entirely to 3D now. I'm not using traditional casting techniques anymore. So Mike sort of led that charge. And a lot of people are starting to go that way with, it does strike me as being inherently more efficient than traditional casting techniques. And also, once the file is there, you never lose the ability to print it. So it's parts might not be being produced, but they can be brought back into production literally with the press of a button. Now, I got a new 3D printer this week. But one of my Saturn went wrong last week, and I thought I looked at repairing it, and I just thought, you know what, up the tip with it, in the tip, binned it, and ordered a new one, a smaller one, but with a higher resolution. And it's just, I've had that Saturn 2 for about a year and a bit. And this Mars 4, which is still the same manufacturer, but a smaller footprint. I realized that I had the big build plate on a Saturn, and I was only ever using the middle sort of few square inches of it because I only ever print very small stuff. So I got this thinking, I don't need that footprint, and it's been absolutely brilliant. But the thing is, the stuff that I often think of as unimportant rapidly become really, really important. This one has got Wi-Fi, so it connects to my computer through Wi-Fi. And rather than having to load the files onto a stick, take it out of the computer, go to the printer, plug it in, and then print, I'm just sending everything from the computer now straight to the printer. And as a quality of life thing for the printer, it shouldn't really matter, but it just makes me that little bit more enthusiastic about doing stuff because I don't have to, it's just removed that little extra sort of step that just makes it so easy, and it instantly found my computer on the Wi-Fi, and I've been printing with it for 5 days, and I haven't had a single failed print yet, which is just, this is the way printers are going now. I haven't had a single failed print, and it's just.
Mike Reeves says 7 Saturn 2s have been working great for me since their release.
Yeah, I know. That's Mike's stock in trade is Saturn 2s, was Saturns and then Saturn 2s. Like I said, I bought the Mars 4 Pro instead of another Saturn because I get away with a smaller footprint. I don't need that. I don't need the big printer. So yeah, it's much like somebody was just saying, 3D printers are the way of crickets or silhouette printers. In that, they're being sold everywhere and everywhere's got them, and a lot of people are getting them. But again, the things I use those for is really basic stuff most of the time. Cutting circles for masking wheels, cutting consistent straight edge masking lines of precise widths. Yeah, you can do it with a steel rule and a blade, but I can also do it in 2 seconds on that when the printer's already set up. And it's just all those little things that improve your quality of life are what you find yourself using it for more than like really, really complicated masking jobs.
Yeah, I was just going to say I was using my silhouette the other week because I was doing some decal design work, and I had to have shaped decals that would literally drape over a surface. And it was that constant kind of refining process of doing the stuff on tape first of all, and then flattening it out, and then doing it, and then doing it. And when you get to that stage where you suddenly go, right, I'm loading the file into the Silhouette printer, and it does its kind of like strange little kind of, you know, kind of like a
this little
Dalek on, Dalek going a bit mad or whatever. And then when you actually kind of peel the stuff off the layer and actually off the backing sheet and start laying it over the model, when it goes down, and it goes down perfect on that first occasion, what you don't see is all the other bits and pieces that have been done to get to that stage. But when you actually get to that stage, oh, it's marvelous. And I love my Silhouette printer. It is just a brilliant bit of kit.
Yeah, and again, it's like an airbrush. It just becomes a part of your armory, a part of your kit that you use all the time. Simon Lewis there just asking, is it affected if Wi-Fi goes down, or does it send the whole file as one? Simon, it sends the entire file as one. It's got its own internal memory. So no, once it's sent the file, if the Wi-Fi go down, it doesn't matter. It will still print it. So
yeah. Rory asks, he says, John, what was the red you matched to the red on the Airfix decals for the Austin K2, please? And that red, Rory, was Tamiya LP7. It's one of their beautiful lacquer paints. But it is an absolutely perfect match for it. It is absolutely bang on. So
you love it when that happens.
I do like it when life is made a little bit more easier.
The other thing I know, you're talking about perfect matches, the paint mixes for the Tamiya F35 perfectly match the decals they've printed. So they it's love it when that happens.
Yeah. Paddy's Model World says Tamiya LP paints are fantastic. They are, Paddy. They are absolutely. My only gripe with the Tamiya LP range is there's not enough colours.
Yeah, I mean it's Tamiya have done pretty much what they've done with their acrylic range, and it's very non-specific apart from a few dotted here and there. It's kind of basic ones.
Yeah. Just reaching for the bell. Yeah, you're doing what I'm doing as well, which is you're reading the comments and things and whatnot. So there we go. Rory says, cheers. I'm starting mine in a few days in the counter scheme. And it has red stripes over the cab. Yeah, I was going to do that one, but I chickened out. I just went for
Mike Reeves. Okay, I need a good real flat coat. Go VMS. There you go. Done. Moving on.
Funny you say that, because gets the camera out. There we go. Look. VMS varnish matte coat. Absolutely, yeah. Oh, well, he's got the bigger bottle. Varnish envy here, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, absolutely.
In that case, Mike, I would suggest GX114 is. Let's have a look. GX114, which is super clear, super smooth, super smooth clear. There you go. That's the. It's not focusing, is it?
No.
But yeah, that's flat. That's. Yeah, beg, borrow, or steal VMS is my best advice. It's.
I'm a bit late to the VMS party, but I think it's only about the last 18 months. Nice workbench, by the way, Drew.
Yeah, I love it. I just want showing it off. It's I don't get like that. I'll do what I want. Don't you be telling me how to do.
There we go.
Happy?
Yeah, delighted. I was going to say, always love
saving people from having to look at this visage.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully it'd fade to grey, but hey.
That made me forget what I was saying now. For goodness sake,
You started it.
yeah, it's the VMS stuff, and I think you and I both got tuned into VMS through watching Night Shift, wasn't it? Uncle Night
Yes,
Shift.
yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a sewing cutting mat, Drew? I got no idea, Dave. It's from eBay, from Amazon. Just ordered it. Could be. Don't know.
Talking of cutting mats, hang about. Bear with me a second, because I was looking at how not ratty my cutting mat is now, but I was looking at. I was going to order another one, and there we go, cutting mat. And bear with me, folks. Scrolls down. There we go. This was the one that I bought. And right, here we go. I'll bring it up onto share screen. I wish StreamYard would make a really easier way of doing this, because it is a bit of an ache. But there we go. The one I've got here is an A1. That's exactly the same cutting mat I've got here. Bearing in mind how hideously expensive these used to be when I was at art college a few years ago. I mean, they used to be in the region of about 40 quid for like an A3 cutting mat.
I mean, I've got two cutting mats here, one on top of another. So there's one there, look, which I think is an A1, which is absolutely gigantic and covers my entire work area. And I just swap out these ones. This is my live streaming one, and I've got I've got an actual modeling one there for. Sorry, I was so there's an A1 size. There's my live streaming one, and when I go to model, I'll put this dirtier one on. So I have mats within mats in a spiral array.
Mats within mats. But there you go, folks. That's the one. That's the one that I bought a couple of years ago. It is absolutely brilliant, and I may actually get round to ordering another one just to have a beauty one for videos and whatnot.
Well, yeah, I mean my current modeling one was my beauty one for live streaming, and then I sat down one night and forgot to move it and went modeling on it, and then it's so I ended up ordering another, and so they cycle through being the beauty mat to the modeling mat to the cutting up and using it for little bits of spraying mat and stuff like that. And I mean, I think I've got an A4 one knocking around here, but they inevitably end up looking like that.
Yes.
So,
but especially if you use Mr. Color lacquer thinner.
Yeah. But even that I haven't got rid of yet. It will go in a bin at some point. But on the other hand, sometimes I'll just, because they're very easy to cut up. You can cut up and use a little bit if you need a little bit for something. Yeah, I mean, cutting mats used to be and sort of even little A4 ones lying around here. That sort of you just end up accumulating them. But again, it's something that I'm becoming increasingly vocal about in modeling is quality of life. This sort of thing, all of this sort of thing is really, really great for quality of life when you're modeling. For just making things easier for you and more pleasant. Just have a couple of spare cutting mats. I mean, what was it, Steve Moore's? What do you cut a cutting mat with? Well, generally, Steve, if you go like that, look. I go. Let's get a rule. I like to use a rule as a rule. So generally, if you go like that and give it a couple of scores, like so, that will then. It's not going to do it now. There you go. As soon as you fold it in half.
Ta-da!
it will snap in half. It's really easy, but they'll now be used for doing little bits and bobs around here, because I just found that when I hadn't had it. I hadn't realised I'd had it for a long time. So, but yeah, those little things, quality of life.
Funny you say that, because we'll go in a minute, folks. But I had an absolute blitz of my toolbox here. I think this is a toolbox that came with some little bottles of scotch and whatever, but I have stripped it down to the absolute bare minimum now. I know it probably looks like there is still too much in here, but compared to what was in there before, no, that's it. That is, we have taken it right back to everything that I need. Sanding sticks, sanding sponges, my beautiful. Have you got any of these, Drew? These Infinity sanding sponges?
Well, you know, I might have a.
Yeah, you might have some. There we go. And my tweezers, my more infamy. They've all got infamy, and of course my Despy cutters as well. But that is, I just keep that. That's it. There we go.
I have Infinity sanders. They are fabulous, actually. I must get another set. I need another. Another set.
The funny thing is that this one here, that's the first one that I bought. I'm still using it. I haven't got around to using any of the other ones, because they are just absolute brilliant quality.
Yeah, I mean, I've used my 400 so much I've had to start cutting bits off of it. But I got these a selection of little sanding boards for about £6 last week from Amazon, and they're not, you know, we've got everything from 80 grit through to 2000 through to 7,000 grit there. So yeah, I mean, and they're just I think that, like I said, I think that was about £6. And they're just handy little things to have around. They're not, you know, it's not precision, expensive modelling stuff. But again, when you've got that sort of thing hanging around, just lying, you know, just there, you can use it whenever you need some material removing quickly and efficiently. You can use them. You know, I really like the specific modelling stuff. You know, I've still got a load of Flory sanders here that Phil sent to me. Even though I think I'm right in saying Phil has stopped doing sanding sticks now. I think he was having too much. I think he was coming up with an idea and he was constantly refining these. And then about 3 weeks after he released them, certain others were releasing releasing something ridiculously similar. So,
any other business?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I will say this in terms of sanding.
Oh, here we go.
No. I'm bringing wet and dry back. Wet and dry, used wet. Okay. You just honestly, it's cheap as chips. You can buy like 10 sheets for £3 on eBay or whatever. And I'm finding that it's using it wet. And always keep it there. And use a little bit of it wet, and then you can just throw it away and move on to the next bit.
16 sheets from Poundland. Guess how much?
£1.
£1. Yeah.
Or it's £2 for 32 sheets. But yeah, we tend to overlook the old standbys these days because there's so much about. And no, I've invested in a ton of wet and dry recently, and it's about using it wet. Use it wet because it clears the swarf really easily and doesn't bind up, and it's just great.
No,
I agree. All the sanding you've seen here is on this has been done with mainly 800 grit, and then a very light rub over with some Scotch-Brite, and that's it. And I might have to do a little bit more if I was doing a metal finish, but this is going to be camouflage, so that's plenty. That's plenty good enough for most jobs. So yeah,
splendid.
Don't overlook the old standbys just because there's new shiny kit about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can discuss this at greater length at on another show. My only other business is I had a Sunday afternoon. Mr. Farmer called. Didn't offer me a job in the fire escape trade, but we did go to the local recycling centre. And on the way back, he dropped me off. I popped in to see me mum. I had a nice cup of tea, and then I had a lovely walk back. And do you know what, Drew? I know we talked about this before the show. Walk back this evening, and I could just feel that slight chill in the air. It
Feels
was
like winter's coming.
It was glorious. Anyway, there you go, folks. That was pretty much my view. Walking back, looking out over the Bristol Channel, because I get to walk along the coast path, and I can see Wales. Oh, I really miss Wales, not being able to drive over there at the moment. And in the distance, there are 2 Severn bridges. You can't see them in the pictures, and there's 2 Severn bridges, and of course Severn Beach, which I haven't been to for a few months. So anyway, we're working on it.
I went up to Dunkery Beacon the other week, and you never said a single thing. I thought you'd be all over the fact that I went up to Dunkery Beacon one day, and you've never mentioned it.
I missed that. You went up to Dunkery Beacon?
Yeah,
we went up to Dunkery Beacon a few years ago.
We did. I was sat at work the other week one morning, and I just thought, I really don't want to be here. No particular reason. I just don't want to be here, and I really want to go up to Dunkery Beacon for whatever reason.
I missed that. I'll have to go back through your timeline and look that up. Did you post pictures?
Yeah, there's a couple of pictures. Yeah. And so I took half a day off, and I went up Dunkery Beacon, and then I went and had an all-day breakfast down in Exford, a little village of Exford.
Fabulous.
And had just the absolute best afternoon out. And do you remember last time we were up Dunkery Beacon, you couldn't even hear yourself talk because the wind was howling across. It was dead still.
Really? That's unusual.
Yeah, because I was commenting, but I was stood up there and you were chatting to people as you do when you go up there. And there was a few of us stood around chatting and said, I can't believe it is absolutely dead still, not a breeze. And it was probably 23, 24 degrees. It was, my coat was tied around my waist by the time I got halfway up walking up to it. And
I think on the next show we'll do that at the end, and we'll pull out the I'll dig out the Exmoor photographs, because I you know me, I love we've had so many good trips to Exmoor, and we will do some more, Drew. We will do some more.
I came away refreshed.
Yeah,
it was just what I needed for the afternoon. It was just really, really reset me.
I got to say, walking back this afternoon and walking back along that view and everything, and to quote that Canadian progressive rock trio, "Thrill to be alive." There we go. And anyway, just to say thank you to Drew for that tonight. That was absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed that. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Fingers crossed, we will see you again next Sunday.
Yes.
And and on that note, everybody stay safe, stay out of trouble. And tonight we're going to leave you with this. Good night.